Have you ever wondered, where do guys play on the infield, depth-wise? What's the positioning? What's the concept? Why do they do it? And who tells them what to do? Well, I'm Jody Reed for InsideBaseball.com, and we're going to discuss that. Ideally, what happens is somebody in the dugout has responsibility for who play the infield depths, the situation based on the strategies. What they do is they basically, by hand signal, will flash out 1, 2, 3, or 4. And we're going to discuss what those 4 infield depths are and what they mean. So we're going to start with infield depth 1. Now, as we get going, and this pertains for every single one of these depths, there's some play, there's some wiggle room within each one of these based on the speed of the runner. The speed of the runner might dictate that at each one of these depths, I may have to play just like on the edge of the 1 position. Or if he's not a very fast runner, I can play on, and with these shifts, okay, with shifts, you've seen how deep you can play. So understand that there's a depth within that. There's a positioning based on the speed of the runner that we can also tinker with. But for the most part, let's talk about what a 1 means. When you're in the 1 position, it's full defense. You're playing as deep as you can and still be able to make the play. And clearly you can understand how the speed of the runner affects that. If I've got, the big number 4 hitter, first baseman, catcher, he doesn't run real well, and I'm at second or I'm at short, man, I can play back on the grass. I can play back here because I know I have time to make this play. However, if I've got a leadoff guy that can fly, well, does it make sense to play back here? Because it's going to take a long time for the ball to get to me. Meanwhile, this guy's flying down the line, I'm going to have to rush. So what I might do is I could find myself playing as far as, well, there's no limit, but I could see myself playing up here easily, 3 or 4 steps off the edge of the grass because that guy runs so fast. So you can see how the speed of the runner can dictate even within a depth of where we play. But for the most part, that number one depth is full defense, nobody out, nobody on, no double play opportunities. My coach wants us to get an out. So that's the number 1. Now, let's talk about 2 depth, which another term for it is quite simply double play depth, all right? So you see 2 from the dugout. Now, what's going to happen is we need to play closer, and for the middle infielders, probably pinch towards the bag a little bit because they need to be able to get to the bag. But what is ultimately happening is we need the ball to get to us quicker. Now, we're going to get the double play, 1 with a bonus. We're going to get the double play, okay? So in order to do that, we need to get the ball to us. That's the whole reasoning behind the number 2 depth. So when the coach flashes out number 2, or he calls for double play depth, you understand that I need to move closer, and if I'm a middle infield player, not only closer towards the batter, but also closer towards the bag. A simple rule of thumb, a lot of times, will be 2 and 2. If I'm playing back here, and this is for the middle infield guys, if I'm playing back in my number 1 position, if the coach gives me 2, I can take 2 big steps in and 2 big steps over. And that basically puts us in a pretty good position to man that double play. So that's ultimately the 2nd depth, number 2. Now before we go to number 3, I want to come in to number 4 because I want to explain that. I think it makes understanding the 3 depth a little easier if we understand 4. So we're going to go to 4 first. Clearly, 4 is as far in as we can get, okay? Probably going to be near the infield grass. And we do this because ultimately what we're looking to do is cut down the run at the plate. And because he's only 90 feet away, we need to be close to the baseball. So that's why we come up here on the infield grass. That's our 4 depth. Clearly the design is to keep that run on third base from scoring. Now, we have one more left, and that's the 3 depth. And the reason why I wanted to save this last is you need to have an understanding of what the 4 depth is so that you get a grasp of the 3. Now, we talked about speed of runners. Speed of runners always dictates what our depth would be, okay? So now I get this from my coach. I understand what he wants. He's thinking we've got a slow guy over here at third base. Or maybe I have bases loaded and he wants us to have the opportunity to turn a double play. So he gives me the 3 depth. I can play a couple of steps deeper. Remember, anytime that I can play deeper, I have more range. The closer I have to play to a batter, the less range I have. So now my coach has said, we've got a slow guy over at third base. We can play in the 3 depth. So that allows us to back up a couple feet, a couple steps. So what we're doing is we're getting the benefit of playing in the 4 depth, and we're also getting the benefit of expanding our range a little bit. We're taking advantage of the fact that we have a slow guy at third base. So that's what that 3 depth is. Or what the coach is saying is we're going to take a chance. We've got runners on first and third, or maybe bases are loaded, and we've got 1 out. Okay? I'm going to take the chance, and we're going to play 3 depth, which allows my infielders to possibly get 2 and get out of this inning, or at least if the ball's hit hard, they still have a chance to go to the plate. So the infield depths play a huge part of the strategy of the game and are one of the key reasons why the game of baseball is the game that it is. So now understand the depths, 1, 2, 3, 4, understand the strategies of it, and now let the coach make the calls and we respond.